In today's video, we have the Galaxy A16 5G up against the Moto G Power 2025 edition. Stay tuned. Alright everyone, hopefully you guys are having a good day. Hopefully everyone is safe out there. Of course, there's going to be a huge price difference between both these devices. The Galaxy A16 5G costing about $200 and the Moto G Power 2025 edition costing about $300. So we're going to be comparing the specifications of both these phones to show you which one is more worth it. Alright guys, so starting off with the display on both of these devices, and both these devices have pretty solid displays. First and foremost, the A16 has a 6.7 inch display and the Moto G Power has a 6.8 inch display. Both have a full HD display as well, and both have a PPI of 385. So it's pretty cool that we have the same PPI, even though this device is about $100 more, but you're going to see that $100 more show up in other things we'll talk about in a second. The next thing about these screens is the Moto G Power 2025 only has an IPS LCD display, but the Galaxy A16 5G has an AMOLED display, so it's beating the Moto G Power in that respect. The A16 also has a 90 Hz refresh rate compared to a 120 Hz refresh rate on the Moto G Power 2025. Now, here's the thing though, the refresh rate, in my honest opinion, you can't tell the difference. And on the AMOLED display, even though the Galaxy A16 only has a 90 Hz refresh rate, it just looks a lot smoother, in my honest opinion. Going over to the Moto G Power right here, still pretty smooth. I'm not saying it's not smooth. I just feel like the Galaxy A16 has smoother animations for whatever reason. They seem a lot less glitchy. But as far as the screen goes, I would still give it to the Galaxy A16 5G. Now, there is a caveat. The Moto G Power 5G right here has Corning Gorilla Glass 5. So a very, very powerful shatterproof protection on the Moto G Power. So that's definitely going to give it a plus over the Galaxy A16 as far as like protection goes. But which one looks better? I would say that's up to you. I'd feel like some people are going to be biased because they like Motorola, but in all honesty, I think the A16 has the better looking display just because it's AMOLED. Alright guys, so getting into the internals of these devices, surprisingly the Moto G Power actually has the same processor as the Moto G, so we're going to literally get the Dimensity 6300 in here still, something that I absolutely do not agree with, but they went ahead and did that. Now going over to the Galaxy A16, this is of course going to have the Exynos 1330, and the power difference between both these devices really is not that much. The CPU performance is actually going to be better on the Galaxy A16. This device supports a 200% higher memory bandwidth. It also has a smaller size transistor, and it also shows up a little bit better in Antutu benchmark score. So we're going to get a 4% better score than the Moto G Power 2025 edition. The only other thing is the Moto G Power's processor is going to have a higher GPU frequency, so we're going to have about a 13% higher GPU frequency than the Galaxy A16 5G. So the performance is not going to be insanely different. I would say when we get into video game graphics and things of that nature, it may look a little bit better on the Moto G Power 2025 edition. However, it is very funny that we didn't really receive that much of a better processor than a $200 phone, which takes us into the RAM right now. The Galaxy A16 only has 4 GB of RAM and the Moto G Power has 8 GB of RAM. So that's where we're going to see a big difference. Both these devices also have 128 GB of internal storage. Both devices, you guys can actually expand your memory via micro SD card up to a terabyte. Now moving on to the software, the Galaxy A16 actually released with Android 14 One UI, and it's pretty crazy news, but we're going to get 6 years of operating system updates for the Galaxy A16. So pretty crazy stuff right there. We're going to get all the way up to Android 22 on the Galaxy A16, and a lot of people have informed me that they do keep these types of phones for years and years, so that's going to be great news for you. And going over to the Moto G Power, I believe we're going to get about 2 to 3 years of major OS updates. It's going to be up until 2027, I think they said. But the great thing is, out of the box, this device is already going to have Android 15, which is something that I can't say about the Galaxy A16. Both devices are going to have a 5,000 mAh battery, And both devices are going to be capable of fast charging. However, we are going to get Qi wireless charging on the Moto G Power, so that's definitely a nicety that we don't get on the Galaxy A16. Our wired charge on the A16 is going to be a 25-watt wired charge, and on the Moto G Power, we're actually going to have a 30-watt wired charge, so this phone charges up very, very quickly, and we also get a wireless charging rate of 15 watts. Overall, with battery tests, though, they are very, very matched. I'm going to go ahead and put them on the screen right here. Very, very matched stuff right here. About 6 hours for both of these batteries. Browsing is going to let you have a few more hours with the Moto G Power. Video is actually going to be better on the Galaxy A16 for a battery life. And as far as gaming goes, the Galaxy A16 is still going to have the better battery life and the longer lasting battery while gaming. So very interesting stuff right here. I'm not sure if that 120 hertz screen on the Moto G Power played a role in that, but very weird stuff right here. Considering the A16 has an AMOLED display, I'm sure there's some other things that play a role in this, but yeah, super surprising stuff right here. Getting into the cameras on these devices, the Galaxy A16 5G, of course, has a triple camera setup. Our main camera is going to be a 50 megapixel autofocus camera. Our secondary is going to be a 5 megapixel ultra wide, and our third is going to be that 2 megapixel macro. Going over to the Moto G Power right here, we actually have a 50 megapixel main sensor, so that's going to be the same as the Galaxy A16. And our secondary camera is going to be an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera. So great that we saw the upgrade there, since on the Moto G, the regular Moto G, that's $100 less than the Moto G Power, only received a 2 megapixel macro camera instead of that ultra wide. So beautiful to see that we have that ultra wide. As for our front facing cameras, on the Galaxy A16, we do have a 13 megapixel front facing camera capable of 1080p. And of course, on the Moto G Power, we have a 16 megapixel camera capable of 1080p video recording as well. Funnily enough, I still think the Galaxy A16 has the better camera. We're going to have full reviews on both of these cameras. I believe I have the A16 camera review out already, but it looks like it does take some better photos and some better video than the Moto G Power 2025 edition, which is insane because this device is $100 more. All right, guys, so we're going to get into the design of these devices, and I think this is going to be where we see the biggest differences between both these devices. Starting off with the Galaxy A16, we're going to have plastic all around this device, other than, of course, the display that we have right here. So plastic on the back, plastic on the sides, and the glass front on this device. Now, the beautiful thing about this device is we do have IP54 in here, so splash and dust resistance, which isn't anything crazy on this device. We do have a fingerprint sensor on the right side of the phone right there that doubles as our power button. But as far as the headphone jack, we do not have a headphone jack on the Galaxy A16 5G. So rest in peace, headphone jack. Going over to the Moto G Power right here. Insane design right here. Insane design. I absolutely love this design. We have a pleather design right here. So it's going to be this faux leather, very, very nice feeling. I feel like this is a very distinctive form factor or design language that Motorola went with, and it made this look much more premium than it actually is. So I really like the design. I like it better than the Galaxy A16. We are going to have a plastic frame, but that vegan leather back, man, is something to look at. Now, as far as the dust resistance on here, crazy stuff right here. So we have an IP69 water and dust resistance on this phone, which is crazy because there are some flagship devices out there that do not have this on here. We also have our fingerprint sensor on the power button right here that is decently accurate. Definitely liking that. And the other thing is we do have a headphone jack at the bottom of this phone. So great that they kept that. What did you do, Samsung? And the other thing, I guess this doesn't have to do with the design, but we have Moto Actions inside of here. And of course, we have a stock Android setup on here. So we have some really good stuff in this phone still. And if you are a Motorola fan, I could still recommend this. However, this may go on sale later in the year. So if you really don't need to upgrade right now, I wouldn't buy this just yet. Also, yes, both of these devices do have eSIM compatibility. Now, going through all of that, which device do I think is the better deal? I think it's going to be an obvious one here. The Galaxy A16 5G is going to be the better deal. I just don't think the Moto G Power 2025 has enough inside of it to be a knock it out of the park phone to recommend it over the Galaxy A16 and pay that extra $100 more. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your opinions. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. This has been Safan from TechRight. Peace out, Tech Gang.